and Apple's iPhone sales and services revenue were the stars of the show in the tech giant's most recent quarter, but the Mac quietly outperformed, helped by growing demand for AI workloads. Wall Street investors had expected to see Mac revenue in the low $8 billion range, but Apple reported $8.4 billion in the second quarter ended March 28. A notable beat for a non-core segment of the tech giant's business. In addition, and investors ahead of earnings believed that Mac sales would be essentially flat year over year. Instead, Mac sales were up 6% on an annual basis, the company told investors. The company's total revenue was $111.2 billion and a 17% increase from the same period last year.
Anthropic is asking investors to submit allocations for the AI company's latest fundraise within the next 48 hours, according to sources familiar with the matter. The round, which TechCrunch reported is expected to be roughly $50 billion, is estimated to close within 2 weeks, the sources said. As we previously reported, Anthropic is targeting a valuation about $900 billion. However, given the soaring demand from investors seeking a stake in the company, the final valuation may well exceed that figure, our sources said.
United States Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth and Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff Don Kane have faced public questioning for the second day, this time in front of the Senate Armed Forces Committee. The hearing on Thursday came a day after Hegseth and Kane appeared before a House committee, the first time the pair had faced public questioning from lawmakers since the U.S.-Israel launched attacks on Iran on February 28. The average price of 1 gallon, 3.8 liters of gasoline in the United States has reached $4.30, according to the American Automobile Association, AA, up from less than $3 before the February 28 start of the U.S.-Israel war on Iran. Thursday's prices come as U.S. President Donald Trump insists that time is on his side in the standoff with Iran, even as he refuses Tehran's offers of a preliminary deal to reopen the Strait of Hormuz. The first direct commercial flight between the United States and Venezuela has landed in Caracas, ending a 7-year suspension imposed by the U.S. Department of Homeland Security over security concerns. Flight AA599, operated by Envoy Air, a regional subsidiary of American Airlines, departed Miami at 10:11 a.m. ET, 14:11 GMT on Thursday, 5 minutes ahead of schedule, according to airport data.
Palestinian Football Federation President Jibril Rajoub refused to stand alongside Israel FA Vice President Bassem Sheikh Suleiman in a heated moment at the 76th FIFA Congress. Both men were called to the stand by FIFA President Gianni Infantino at the event on Thursday, but Rajoub declined to be brought closer to Suleiman, a Palestinian citizen of Israel. Who? Arsenal versus Fulham what? English Premier League where? Emirates Stadium, London, United Kingdom when? Saturday, May 2 at 5:30 p.m. T. How to follow. We'll have all the build-up on Al Jazeera Sport from 30 GMT in advance of our live text commentary stream for all the talk of Arsenal having blown their Premier League title hopes after being reeled in by Manchester City. The truth is that come Saturday, they could have re-established a 6-point lead to pile the pressure on Pep Guardiola's side.
U.S. lawmakers have voted to end a 76-day partial government shutdown over opposition to the Trump administration's immigration enforcement operations. Members of the U.S. House of Representatives approved a Senate-passed bill to fund the Department of Homeland Security, DHS, sending it to President Donald Trump for signature on Thursday. Prosecutors in California have filed a criminal charge against Britney Spears over her arrest last month for allegedly driving under the influence. The pop star is facing 1 misdemeanor count of driving under the influence of any alcohol and drug. She was arrested on the 4th of March on a Southern California highway after driving her BMW erratically at a high rate of speed, authorities said. Belgium's government has said it is planning to buy its nuclear reactors from French power giant Engie in order to secure the country's energy supplies. Prime Minister Bart de Wever said the deal would involve a full takeover of the nuclear fleet, including Belgium's 7 aging nuclear reactors.
A Ugandan court has sentenced a man to death for killing 4 children at a nursery school in the capital, Kampala, earlier this month. Christopher Okello Onyem was found guilty of fatally stabbing the children, aged between 1 and 3 years old, on April 2.
And President Donald Trump has signed into law a bill to resume funding for the Department of Homeland Security, DHS, after the United States House of Representatives has passed the Senate-approved proposal, the adoption of the bill, which did not include Immigration and Customs Enforcement, ICE, or Customs and Border Protection, CBP, by a voice vote on Thursday, ended an 11-week partial government shutdown.
Reporters Without Borders, known by its French acronym RSF, has condemned Israel for kidnapping 3 journalists on board the Gaza-bound Global Sumud flotilla, which Israel intercepted while it was travelling in international waters. In a post on social media Thursday, RSF said it condemns the kidnapping in international waters by the Israeli army of French correspondent Hafed Mriba and Turkish cameraman Mahmout Yavuz, who both work for Al Jazeera, and journalist Alex Colston, who works for US media outlet Zati.
US President Donald Trump has told reporters that I'm okay with Iran playing in the upcoming Football World Cup, which will be held in North America in June and July. The comments come after FIFA President Gianni Infantino on Thursday said Iran would be present at the tournament and would play in the US.
And Nvidia has laid a new brick in its AI empire. In Ventures, its corporate VC fund has backed Legora, reportedly its first legal AI investment, leveraging AI to help lawyers streamline their work. The Swedish-born legal tech startup is competing with US player.
FIFA President Gianni Infantino has insisted Iran will play World Cup matches in the United States, despite the football governing body's Congress opening without the country's delegation, its absence highlighting tensions and challenges surrounding the tournament. Iran's absence deprived Thursday's Congress of direct representation from a country whose presence at the 2026 World Cup is already shaping behind-the-scenes discussions. And the issue is particularly acute given the tournament's cross-border nature.
Mexican President Claudia Sheinbaum has cast doubt on accusations by the United States that Sinaloa Governor Ruben Rocha collaborated with the Sinaloa drug cartel after U.S. prosecutors charged him with having ties to organized crime. My position on these events is as follows: truth, justice, and the defense of sovereignty, Sheinbaum said on Thursday. She added that the US claims lack credibility unless they are backed by actual evidence.
And United States President Donald Trump has said Tennessee will redraw its electoral map following a US Supreme Court ruling that gutted a key provision of the landmark US Voting Rights Act. While the Supreme Court's ruling on Louisiana's electoral map has wide-ranging implications across the country, it also has implications for the broader electoral landscape.
After Sam Altman trash-talked Anthropic for gatekeeping its cybersecurity tool Mythos by only releasing it to select users, he confirmed that OpenAI would be doing the same with its competing tool. Cybert said in a post on X on Thursday that OpenAI will begin rolling out GPT 5.5 Cyber to critical cyber defenders in the next few days. OpenAI has an application about their credentials and planned use in order to go access. Planned use.
And security researchers are sounding the alarm on a newly discovered vulnerability in the widely used web server management software cPanel and Web Host Manager, WHM. The bug allows hackers to hijack and take full control of the servers running the affected software, which is thought to be used by tens of millions of website owners around the world.
Rivian has reworked its loan deal with the Department of Energy and now expects to borrow $4.5 billion to build its new factory in Georgia, down from the original amount of $6. $6 billion allocated under the Biden administration. The company also announced Thursday that it will draw on the loan sooner than planned, in early 2027, and expects to increase the total capacity of the Georgia plant from 200,000 to 300,000 vehicles in its initial phase of operation, another sign that the company has high hopes for its upcoming R2 SUV. Myanmar's former leader Aung San Suu Kyi has been moved to house arrest, state media report, more than 5 years after the military toppled the civilian government that the Nobel laureate had led and jailed her. President Min Aung Hlaing, who ordered the coup in 2021, said in a statement on Thursday that he commuted the remaining sentence to be served at the designated residence. OpenAI is getting serious about account security. The company on Thursday launched Advanced Account Security, a set of opt-in protections for ChatGPT users designed for high-value individuals, but available to anyone who wants them. Faraday Future paid around $7.5 million to a company controlled by its founder Jia Yuting in 2025, according to a new regulatory filing. The long-struggling electric vehicle startup made the payments in a year when it delivered only 4 vehicles and lost nearly $400 million. The company has pivoted to selling cheaper vans and robots imported from China. The federal government on Thursday approved another big increase in diesel and petrol prices for the next 8 days. The Prime Minister has sanctioned an increase of Rs. 19.39 per litre in the price of diesel and 6.51 per litre for petrol. Following the approval, the price of diesel will now be Rs. 399.58 per litre and petrol 399.86 per litre.
And the government raised on Thursday the price of petrol by Rs 6.51 per litre and that of Hytene 0.39. Following the increase, the price of petrol stands at 399.86 per litre and HSDs at 399.58.
A bomb that killed a soldier in a remote Russian town was likely targeting a notorious Russian commander known as the Butcher of Bucha. Russian and Ukrainian media and military bloggers said. Russian authorities said the bomb attack on Tuesday in the Far East Khabarovsk region killed 1 person and injured several others.
And explosions rocked Mali's capital on April 25 as rebels carried out coordinated attacks across the country. Mali's defense minister was killed along with his wife and children when an attacker struck their home. With Bamako under siege and the military leadership briefly disappearing from view, who is really behind the violence in Mali? In this episode,
President Donald Trump has renewed his attacks on German Chancellor Friedrich Merz as the rift between the United States and one of its closest European allies widens over Berlin's criticism of the war on Iran. The US president suggested on Thursday that Merz should focus on German and European affairs rather than comment on the conflict in the Middle East.
And an Israeli human rights organization has petitioned the Supreme Court to demand the immediate release of 14 doctors from Gaza held without charge for more than a year. Physicians for Human Rights Israel, PHRI, said on Thursday that it filed the petition after the Israeli military's chief of staff, Eyal Zamir, failed to respond to its request to release the group, which includes pediatricians, orthopedic specialists and surgeons.